Hey sis, hey, welcome to the Must Be the Mental podcast with Shar. This is the space where Black women come to heal, be seen, and stop suffering in silence. I'm Shaaree McCalpine, licensed therapist, speaker, and your mental health bestie. So grab your favorite beverage and let's talk about it. Hey y'all, hey, welcome to the Must Be the Mental podcast. I am your host, Shaaree McCalpine, and I am your mental health bestie. Y'all know we just walking this thing down. We are talking, we are having conversation and sitting in a space where we talk with Black women about real stuff and real problems and real world issues that we face every single day. But we doing it in the cool space of you can wear a bonnet, you can put on a scarf, you can get your hair done, you can do all the things, grab you a cup, put whatever you want in it. I did some juice cleanse, but my friend Cetra actually made me this cup. I need to contact her again because I need one for the Must Be the Mental podcast cup. So today we're taking up space. We are talking about how to be big in a space where you might be diminished or shrunken. Forget what they told y'all. We are magic, but we are definitely real. So what can I say about my phenomenal, inspiring, go get it type girlfriend? Yeah, she is a motivational speaker. She is an author. And when we're talking about big, she's not just the author of one book. Sis did the whole series. Like y'all gonna get all of this. Y'all gonna binge if y'all want to binge. It's She is an advocate for diversity. She is also in the political arena. Her political roots, they go deep. And she's a proponent for education and leadership. And she has a very important role as being a mother. So when they talk about standing on business, y'all, when I tell y'all she stands on business and be looking so cute while she doing it, I simply love her. Y'all go ahead and welcome my good friend and one of my favorite people, Miss Tiffany Tilley. Hey, Tilley.
Thank you so much, Chris.
So, honey, tell us. I could literally keep going with your resume. Your CV is nothing to play with. And y'all see she's still at that young age. Like it's not one of the things where we look and be like, okay, look, she done did all this stuff, but it's been in a long period of time. Like your trajectory has been like not in a whole long framework. So let's talk about how did you even get started with let's talk about your book. How did you even get started with this book that has kind of explain it, the mental health component, as well as it's an easy read and all of the series go together and make sense. What even brought you to that?
Let me first start by saying that God is good. And I just feel like, I'm just Tiffany, but God, I mean, seriously, I pray constantly and have, my whole life for God to use me. So he uses me in different spaces. And I'm just open to it because I don't always have the plan, Sometimes people think I'm on this plan up and I don't always have the plan, but I do try to be obedient. And the books that was divine intervention, that was God speaking to me, telling me what to do. He actually gave me the books years ago, over a decade ago, and I wrote out the outline for the book, the title, the chapters. I knew what the book was going to be about. I didn't know all of the information yet, though. So God had to work with me and deal with me because, I am a leader, and like a lot of us, I've had a lot of, what did Erykah Badu say? Bag lady, carrying shoulders, and dealt with a lot of trauma, and I still needed to heal from it. So it a complete healing journey. And then when I had a really bad car accident in 2021, God set me down. I had no choice but to sit down. I was in a back brace a year, physical therapy a year and a half, had to learn how to walk right again. I had multiple procedures. So I had no choice but to sit down.
So
And
Tiffany, before you like rush past that and like, because it happened to you, so sometimes we just already be like, okay, we moving on to the next thing. But a lot of people, maybe not as devastating or traumatic as that, but when we come to crossroads or there are things that are happening that you say, like you say, I have to sit you down. That can be super overwhelming and with a person who is used to being on the go, on the go, on the
yeah,
go all the time, how did that affect you as a mom, a leader, just your own self person, your own self? How did that affect you just to have to be forced to sit down, not because I need to sit down?
it was a lot, and I didn't accept it for a while. I just kept going around like I was okay. I kept, hiding I tried to hide how badly I was injured, you know, not only to the public and to myself. Because for one, we have to be strong as Black women. We can't show weakness. And
Mm-hmm.
then for me, it was not realizing it's true when we age, it's harder for our bodies to heal. And so I'm thinking, okay, I just got knocked down for a minute. I just need a week. A week turned into a couple of weeks, a
Not a
couple of
week, Tiffany. Not a week, girl.
like I just need a week. I need a couple of weeks. And then after a couple of weeks, I said, I just need a couple of more weeks. And then a couple more weeks came. I just need a couple of more weeks. After a few months of that, it dawned on me like, no,
Mm-hmm.
this is not a couple of weeks type of healing situation.
Yeah, for
And if
sure.
I really want to heal my body, I have to heal mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that became the focus.
Wow, girl, talking about how Black women don't have, and again, disclaimer, people, because I know sometimes y'all like to tussle when y'all come on. I speak about Black women because I'm a Black woman and I know the struggles that we have. I'm not discrediting anybody else's struggles. We're talking about our struggles. So, in hearing Tiffany say, like, okay, just had this big accident because you talking about you was in a brace, you had to do all the things all over again to even have the thought, the notion in your mind to say, this will be about a week. That
I literally could not pour a 2-liter pop. I could hardly hold my own water. And I literally was thinking, oh, just give me a week or two. I'm going to bounce back.
that's that push through. That's that crazy push through that we experience and be like, okay, I gotta get back at it. I gotta get back at it as if we don't deserve or need to heal.
Yes.
Yeah,
My
girl.
daughter lives out of state, and it was a couple of months before she even knew what I was going through. And she only knew because one day she called me and I couldn't hide it anymore. And she just heard it in my voice. And
Mm-hmm,
she said, Ma, what's the matter? Immediately.
mm-hmm.
And I think I just broke down crying and I just told her. And she said, why didn't you tell me? I would have come and taken care of you. She said, I will be there next month for my birthday and I'm going
Uh-huh.
to take care of you when I come. That baby was at my door 2 days later knocking. She
Girl.
surprised me. She hopped on a flight and she came
Mm-hmm.
and saw by her mom. So, yeah.
That also speaks volume to the protectiveness that we try to protect others from us needing anything. Like, I got it. I don't want you to take time away from you. But
Yeah.
then also to know that your baby could hear, just like we hear from the Lord, she could hear that this don't sound like my mom and was
Yeah.
like, I need to protect her in this space. because a lot of people don't have that. We have these titles of moms, daughters, friends, but then when it's time
Yeah.
to reciprocate, it's like, yeah, but she was ready. Look at
She
you.
was
Come on,
ready.
Ma Tiff. Come on.
She was ready. God is good.
So what did you gather or garner from those moments where you had to be set down? Because when you are in a space that you are used to being this big girl, this big dog, I don't need nobody. I'm gonna figure this out. I can do it. Then going from running and setting up corporations, helping other people live their best life. Now I got to sit down. I can't lift a 2 liter pop because imagine, right? How did that internalize for you?
It was very difficult, especially during that time. I'm currently the co-vice president of the State Board of Education in Michigan. This accident, it was in 21. I had ran in 2018, received almost 1.8 million votes. Um, at the same time, I was working multiple jobs. I was running community and economic development for a municipality, helping to bring in millions of dollars to that community, and helping to manage for the city, development projects up to $40 million. And
Girl,
then
put on for the city. Like, don't you dare try to skip through those numbers like that. Like and that's another thing that we do. Slow it down just a little bit. The whole vote thing, number one, is a big deal for a Black woman, and to garner all of those votes. And now I'm running this and I'm collecting multitudes, millions of dollars. Girl.
I'm moving a lot of money all to help people. At the same time, I want to be able to serve and I want to be able to live a good life. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to work multiple jobs so I can do what I need to do for my family, and I could do what I need to do for the community. So I'm doing everything. I was also running a nonprofit organization, and I had garnered a 6-figure a year grant from federal funds, had some local funds as well that I was managing, different pots and implementing programs into that community as well. Yeah. And then I have a real estate license. So I was also doing real estate sales. So I was doing very well for myself financially. I was in multiple important roles, wearing a lot of different hats. I can't say that I was the happiest person because that's a lot. That's a lot that I was carrying and didn't have the time to even, do self-care or self-regulation or all of the things that we know, and that I know at this point is important. So God set me down. I think, I was just doing too much, and I just needed to focus on Tiffany and being the best Tiffany so that I wasn't pouring from an empty cup, so that when I pour, I know how to pour properly as a leader so that I can affect the changes that I want. I can make the systemic changes that I want. I can improve the quality of life for people. I can remove barriers for populations, but Tiffany is also good too.
So coming out of that space where now I'm learning that I can't do all these things. I just cannot. It's not, I won't, I'm trying to figure it out. I can't. My body won't allow me to move in the space that I want to move in. How did that change you as far as your mindset and being able to move forward?
I started removing people and things from my life that did not bring me happiness, joy, peace.
Wait a minute, Tiff. Wait a minute. Babe, you said that you had to take time for yourself, but in that time you started learning the pruning, the removal of things. Girl, how
Yes.
difficult is that to start removing people? That because a lot of people that you remove, they depend on you, they pull from you, they need
Yes.
you.
They
That
drain you.
starts to be who you are to a lot of people.
They drain you. And if it's somebody that was draining me, they had to go. Period. And
Uh-huh.
no apologies about it, you
Uh-huh.
know. And I also learned, I had to do that shadow work and look at myself and say, what am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I realized is I don't have good boundaries. And
Yeah.
so I had to learn to set up boundaries. So some people could stay, but those people that could stay, I needed to learn to have good boundaries with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to learn to, from the gate, if I don't like something, I'm not comfortable with something. If I'm not comfortable with your tone, I let you know.
Yeah.
Um, I because I was so passive aggressive as a
Mm-hmm.
human being before, and a lot of times I felt like I didn't have time to deal with certain things, so I just let them go as I continue to move on and progress. So my progression was good, my trajectory is good, right? But I'm allowing things that I shouldn't allow, and I don't know how to process or manage the situation. So I had to learn how to do those things. Those are skill sets that that's a part of emotional intelligence. That's a part of SEL, social
Mm-hmm.
emotional learning. And so some of those things needed to be developed. And we all have different skills that we need to develop or further develop.
Yeah. It's wild because in our culture now, and even on social media, and I hear like some therapists talking, and they have like all these millions of views, and then I get kind of cringed by the things that they say because a lot of things are not um I wouldn't say right, but I wouldn't say that it gives people the background or the meditation or knowing yourself before you just do it. Like we are in a space of I'm gonna protect my peace at all points. So that means my cutoff game is strong. Protecting your peace is something that doesn't necessarily equate to cutting off. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you number one, let me rewind a little bit because a lot of people don't always know the jargon or the lingo that we know because we have been in those spaces. So when you say that you had to develop better boundaries and you knew that you were um uh what was it you said that you were not aggressive,
Passive aggressive.
passive aggressive, right? So
Mhm.
for the people that are listening that don't understand what that means for you, what was passive aggressive? How would you describe it if it was a scenario or something was happening?
I was passive aggressive and I was people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
So that means to avoid conflict. And I wasn't afraid of conflict. I don't like conflict though. I don't
Right.
like what it brings out of me. So in order to avoid conflict and to try to keep those relationships, I would people please, I would be passive until I couldn't take it anymore. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're passive with people and they are takers and you're a giver, they're going to take because you
Mm-hmm.
have no boundaries, because you have not set parameters. And
Yeah.
so people will take advantage. And then you get tired of being taken advantage of. And then it's like that straw that broke the camel's back. And it's like, now I'm about to check the hell out of you. Um,
Yeah.
and then people are like, wait a minute, who is this person? This is the
Mm-hmm.
same person that was always here. But this is the person that didn't know how to set those boundaries, didn't know how to set those parameters, did not communicate well my needs or my feelings. And
Yeah.
so and expecting the best out of others, and that okay, you love me, whether it is romantic, whether it was friendship, whether it was familial, you love me, so I expect you to protect me, protect my heart, protect my peace, not
Yeah.
bring something to me that would harm me or hurt me. And then I had to understand and realize as a mature adult, that's my responsibility.
Right.
That's not somebody else. I'm giving somebody else ownership for what's my responsibility. And it's
Mhm.
my response. The Bible says to guard your heart. And so it's my responsibility to guard my heart. It's my responsibility to guard my peace. It's my responsibility to vet people and make sure that I'm not letting people in my life where I don't feel comfortable with their morals, their values, their care.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
if I have people in my space that do have good morals, good values, good character, but they make mistakes, that's where you said the cutoff. You don't have to cut everybody off. You do
Yeah.
have to set your boundaries, and you do have to give people grace because nobody is going to be perfect. You
Yeah.
know, there are people that are going to step on your toes. You could know them 50 years, and it might be that one time that they step on your toes or those 5 times, but that doesn't mean to cut them off.
Mhm.
That means to communicate to them, and if they respect you and if they love you and they're a good person, they're not going to want to hurt you again anyway.
Yeah. When you are setting these boundaries, because I know a lot of people talk about boundaries and they talk about, oh, I got to set my boundaries. But what I found when I talk to a lot of my clients and friends and people in general is that they will make up these boundaries. Number one, the expectation of the boundary is like who can meet that level, because we go from no to all the way on the other end. But what I found is that people don't communicate what happens if the boundary is disrupted, or if it's overstepped, or if I don't, what does the communication look like if I say, dang, Tiffany, I don't like when you talk to me um, like I'm a kid. I don't like when you talk to me aggressively. So that's a boundary, right? But then what is the other part? I need to communicate the if you do that. So is that something that you do with your boundaries? Communicate to the person the dot dot dot. If you violate this boundary, then this will happen.
I think, for one, I think boundaries and expectations can be two different things.
Absolutely.
I do definitely think that you need to communicate that part as well.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be able to stand on it. And I think if somebody knows you well
Mm-hmm.
and knows your actions, your patterns of your actions, then they will know if I cross this boundary,
Exactly.
what's going to happen. Because even, I have a really uh, uh, an amazing relationship with my papa, and my papa, he kept crossing a boundary, and I didn't say anything about it, but it would irritate the heck out of me when he did this. And you know, because he's my papa and we have a great relationship, I just kept letting it go. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay, whatever, he's gotten older. Let me just let it go. So I finally couldn't take it anymore. I got to that
Mm-hmm.
passive aggressive stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just, my whole tone, my whole attitude just changed, and I rushed off the phone with him. So he already knew he
Yeah.
had stepped over a boundary because he's my papa. He knows me, right? And he cares. So he got afraid at that time because my cutoff game is strong. He kind of, I think, got worried that I wasn't going to talk to him anymore. And of course, it was not to that point or anything. But if you have people know your patterns, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and people know if you stand on business or not. So he
Right.
knows that my cutoff game is strong. But you know, he checked the temperature a few days later
Right.
and sent me a message on Facebook and saw if I responded. And I did. So then it was like, okay, the door's open. I think, again, make sure that you stand on business when
Mm-hmm.
somebody steps over your boundaries in a very serious way,
Mm-hmm.
to let them know, and not even just the serious way. Sometimes it is those small things.
Yep. It is always the small things.
It starts with the small things, people
Mm-hmm.
checking your temperature,
Yeah.
and let them know, if this continues, I won't be able to have you in my life, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever your boundary is.
Yeah.
I cannot have someone in my space that does that. This cannot happen again. Let
Yeah.
them know this cannot happen again. And if they ask you, well, what if it happens again? Let them know what that means. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to happen again. It's not going to happen again because I won't be able to interact with you if this.
Right.
Or sometimes, depending on the person, I might take small breaks from them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give them space to figure it out and let them deal with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to continue working on Tiffany.
Good girl. That's good stuff. That is super good stuff. The A lot of times when I talk to people, they address a lot of relational issues or romantic issues. And what I've come to find out is we know how to do business, and we will do this, and this in our professional life. Those same rules can apply to how we manage our familiar life, our romantic life. All those things are, uh, we can use those things on the same lines. For you, what you just talked about with relationships, how does that look in the bigger fold when you are doing all of these amazing professional moves career wise, where I'm sure sometimes you are in a room that don't always look like you, don't always consider you? How do you then fit your boundaries, your emotional intelligence, your passive aggressive? How does that look in all of these spaces? Because we're talking about Black women being big and not shrinking down. How does that look for you in those spaces?
I've been in a lot of rooms where I have been the only minority, the
Mm-hmm.
youngest person in the room. Um, and you know, I don't I choose not to shrink. I choose to show up. I choose to show up as my authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to continue conversations and still stand up for diversity, for equity, in
Mm-hmm.
those spaces, even though people might not agree.
Yeah.
And I also make sure that I'm bringing facts, not just um, the
Mm-hmm.
emotional side of things, but I'm bringing facts.
Yeah.
I'm bringing statistics. And if I'm in a room where they're in opposition, I'm asking
Yeah.
questions that they can't always answer, but I'm asking questions because I want you to give me the facts. I want you to give me the reasoning. I want you to give me the logic. And I feel like, I've garnered the respect of people because how I do move in those rooms. You have to know who you are. Again, back to knowing who you are, and be confident and comfortable with who you are, and being able to read the room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not that every moment is going to be perfect, but you have to keep showing up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm in rooms where people expect me to prove myself, and I don't
Girl.
see the need to prove myself.
Right.
I've done the work. So I let my work speak for itself. This is what I've done. This is what I've accomplished. And this is what I'm planning on doing. You can like it or not like it. But
Mm.
at the end of the night, I have to be okay with me.
Yeah.
So that is what I work on. That is what I continue to work on. That is what I strive for. Um, and continuing to be a voice for people. And a lot of times too, I'm remembering that I'm not just speaking for Tiffany. I'm speaking for almost 2 million people that voted for me, and even those who didn't cast a vote or couldn't cast a vote because they're
Right.
underage. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm representing people and communities.
What's the hardest thing you found that you in that arena, the political arena? What is the hardest thing, and not really policies or getting deep into it, but what is the hardest thing that has been for you in keeping your integrity, keeping the fact that you are a Black woman? People are on your shoulders because they voted for me. They expect me to show up and be who I said I was going to be. What has been the hardest part of that for you?
I don't feel like that part has been hard for me. I feel
Hey.
like I'm rooted and grounded in that. Again, I'm not a perfect human being, but I feel like I'm rooted and grounded in that. And, my mother was 19 when she had me. Her mother was 42 when she had her. So my grandparents were born in 1913 and 1919, and they helped raise me along with my mother. Even though she was independent, they were so close.
Mm-hmm.
So um I want to say that's a whole different value system that I learned than what a lot of people are learning today. That's those early 1900 values where people were very communal. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't individualistic. It wasn't just about you. It was about the family. It was about the community. My grandmother was the local bank for the community. So it's a different system. So the integrity issue is not an issue for me. A lot of times, though, you have people a part of politics or any other industry. You have people that will question your integrity, or if they are trying to make maneuvers, they might lie on you. Now,
Oh yeah,
I've had
girl.
things happen, and I let the way I move, the way I walk, I let that
Mm-hmm.
speak for itself. Like I said, I have years of me being successful in different arenas
Yeah.
and the things that I've brought to those arenas. So God bless those people that are making and then even with that, because of my reputation, because of my relationships, the people that knew me knew that that did not fit. They
Right.
knew that those were lies, that was not right, so I'm blessed in that sense as well, because that's God. When people can see the God in you.
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Where are you at on the line of birth? Like, are you number one only, two, three, seven?
So I am my biological mother's only child. My
Oh.
mother fell ill when I was 10. And
Mhm.
so I grew up in a lot of different households. I had to raise myself for a lot of it. Especially when I was in the household with my mom and being a caregiver.
Mhm.
As a teenager, there were different times when, I was staying with different family members or friends that were like family,
Uh-huh.
and they became family too. So it's almost like unofficial adoptions, and I've been adopted into different families. So while my biological father has children as well, I am definitely siblings to a lot of people, and they are siblings to me. So
Yeah, girl, that makes 100% sense now, because you are definitely the girl, the woman that's fitting. Like, you literally, like, you always feel like a warm hug. Like, I'm like, this my girl. Like, from when we met.
likewise, when
So
we
I
met.
can see that. Oh yeah, remember we always talk about that. Tiffany also has a podcast that I've been on, and it's connected to your series of books.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
on her podcast, she mentioned how we met. Because this girl, I'm like, oh no, we gonna be friends. She tried to play me, y'all. Tell them how you tried to play me, Tiffany Tilley.
You know, and at that moment, all I can say is I was not in the best space, but
Mm-hmm.
it is hilarious looking back on it. And we're in the conference room, and you and Nicole are talking about after this, we're all gonna be friends after this training. And I'm like, and I sat there and I looked at them and I said, I don't, guys, I told them I don't need any friends. No new friends. That's the stage I was at. No new friends. And mind you, I have friends that cradle to the grave type of thing. So a lot of my childhood friends are still my friends. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but so it's not that I don't have friends or anything. I just was in a space where probably, and I can't remember exactly, but probably having problems with trusting new people, um,
Mm-hmm.
and being burnt by new people. So I
Yep.
just was like, no new friends. And then the two people that said that and was big on that, look what happened. We're
Yep.
still good friends to this day, both of
Yeah.
you. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm never in it. And my people are always like, you are so friendly. I don't know if it's friendly, but I've never ascribed to the no new friends because I'm like, dang, I probably know some. She probably gonna be good. Like, I don't know. I always be thinking she probably is going to be. But don't get me wrong, I have been in very similar situations where um trust has been broken, betrayal. Like it this year, for January, February, and March, those were the 3 longest years of my life because stuff happened that I never would have thought would have happened. And when you said the pruning season, that was definitely a connection that sometimes you have to, God will show you some things when you sit down and settle. And then you are able to see what isn't supposed to be in your space as opposed to what we want to bring into our spaces.
You know, my problem wasn't that I wasn't open to new friendships. My problem was what you just described. I had always been open to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
arms wide open. As soon as I meet you, I'm, we're
Yep.
friends for life. I'm, everybody's BFF. People that don't usually have friends, I become their BFF.
Right.
So so I think I had just got into a space where, let me be more rigid. But that's because I didn't have those boundaries, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It always goes back to that for sure. For sure. And I don't even think that we got into how did you decide, like I know now when you said that my work speaks for itself, my integrity and my ethic because people know me. But when you first started going in those rooms as a young Tiff and not having people know who you are and being in that space, how did you navigate for maybe our 30-year-olds that may be listening where they like, oh, I love what she's saying. I want to do that, but right now I don't feel whole. I don't feel like I can do that. How did it feel from the beginning? We know where you are now. You know how you see the people who lose weight, and when you look at them, you like, she all right, she don't look. But then when you see that before picture of them being like 400 pounds, you be like, oh man, okay, I get it. So help them to get it from the honorable Tiffany Tilley to this is me stepping out as Tiff. How did that trajectory go?
I will say everybody's road and path, it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had some opportunities that everybody doesn't always have in our community. With that, people think the typical Black experience is maybe growing up in poverty, not having access. That was not my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I came from a very, very middle class family. Um, the way I even got into politics, my dad was dating and had gotten engaged to the director of elections for the city of Detroit. and she gave me a job. But what she did do, and so this is the way that I could relate, and I'm always mindful that people do not always have that opportunity or resources from our community. And so that is why I fight so hard, because I grew up with a lot of people. I went to school with a lot of people where I could see it as a child and it bothered me. So what I can say though, she did not hold me up under her wings. She pushed me out there. She pushed the bird out of the nest. So she said, if you want to network, if you want to do you go do them. She said, I'm over going to these meetings. I don't want to go. You can go.
Right.
So I was out there on a limb by myself, but the door had been open for me. Now it's a new day and age, right? Everything is on the internet. Access, we do have more access, and sometimes we don't realize it because of our mindsets. Yeah. So what I would say to young people is, on the internet, if you have an industry you want to be in, a network you want to be a part of, research it. Do your research, do your homework. And then find where they're meeting at, start attending some of the meetings, be a part of different organizations and groups, volunteer. People don't like to volunteer. They don't like that word.
Right.
But I did so much volunteering. I got so much exposure from volunteering. I was a young dim. I was a young adult NAACP. Yeah. I did Detroit Symphony Orchestra through Classical Roots once a year. I was one of the young adults that helped on the committee. I was
Look, when you say volunteer, you ain't playing around out here.
I was volunteer of the year. I was everywhere, but I met everyone. Yeah. Because I was everywhere. And I met people in different industries. And someone said that years ago. They said, I don't care what table I'm at, your name comes up. He said, these people don't even know each other. So it's not even the same group of people. Yeah. No, I definitely made sure that I experienced different things, and I did what I was, different things I was passionate about. So on the grassroots level, I did things on the grassroots level, community level, corporate level, because I'm interested in corporate giving and philanthropy, right? So I made sure too that I wanted to expose our youth. Yeah. And so as I was doing things with the DSO, or, I got tickets, I get 200 tickets at a time and give them out to the community, right? I would get Tigers tickets. I would get WNBA tickets, and sometimes NBA tickets, and give them out to the community so that people could get that exposure. So volunteering does pay off, but your network is your net worth. Yeah. So you have to network. And once you keep showing up in rooms and building those relationships, it becomes easier and people welcome you. People are afraid to do it, but let people see you 3 or 4 times. You become a part of the environment.
Absolutely. They'd be like, oh, hey, come over here. And then you start feeling so much more comfortable. I know it's hard. Like, that's my tagline for counseling. Like, you have to start by yourself, but you don't have to do it alone. So once you make that first step, like you're saying, it definitely makes a difference. And I feel like we're so connected, because I know that I didn't have the same struggles that people had. And once I got older, I know that a lot of times people would try to weaponize that I didn't have those struggles. Like, oh, girl, you don't know nothing about the hood, because you, like, why are you saying it like that? Like, it's all good. I don't, it's cool. Did you have anything that people would try to use as a weapon against you? Like, for me, I just told you that older piece, but even being a therapist, if I say something that they might judge or feel like doesn't fit the narrative, then you should know better. Like, you a therapist, like, girl, I'm not your therapist, so let's not do that. But with you having your hand in so many different pots, and people knowing you, and you being a very successful Black woman, even at this younger age, because it's only gonna go kaboom from here. When I'm talking about being big, Like you still little because you still got so much more. But is there anything that can be like a weapon that people try to form against you to try to make it seem like you ain't who you are?
So I would say, and let me also reference, I still grew up in the hood. It was Black
It's
Detroit.
different layers of the hood, though.
It's different. It is different layers of the hood. That is true. But also, back in the day, and remember, I had older grandparents. Everybody was mixed in a lot of times,
Yep.
whether money or not.
Yep.
But I would say, especially in politics, people will always try to use something against you. Create a narrative, whether it is founded, unfounded, because there's always opposition. You can have a million people that support you, but you still will have a million people who don't, right?
Right.
And so the people that don't, whether they like you or not, is not even the question. It's politics.
Right.
It's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. So right now, you're not their person.
What was it, Tiffany? Permanent what? Interest?
There's no permanent friends. There's no permanent enemies. Only permanent interests, or only common interests, not permanent interests. Only common interests. So right now, we don't have a common interest. Right now, I'm supporting that person. So in order for them to succeed, you're too strong. I need to, do something to get people to not support you. So what can I say, right? So there are times when not only have I been the only Black in the room or only minority, there are times when I've even been the only woman in the room, especially back in the day in politics. Now we're everywhere, we're running everything, but it was a man's world. So of course there's going to be something that people hold against you. There's going to be something, whether it's the color of your skin, whether it's being a woman, just anything. Oh, you don't live here. Well, it's no residency requirement. What? They're going to find something, no matter how qualified you are, no matter how great you are, and no matter how much they would choose you for the scenario if it was a different time.
Yeah.
But I would say, again, you have to be confident in who you are and comfortable with who you are. And if you're not there, you have to get to that point. And one of the ways that you do that is by building your skill set. It's not about what's outside of you externally. It's about what you build, and being rooted in your spirituality, and staying focused, being disciplined and staying focused. If you stay focused on what you're doing and you keep building and keep putting one foot in front of the other, you'll get there. If you keep sitting back and saying, oh, woe is me, what I don't have, if you don't know how to pivot when you don't have something and say, well, right now, maybe it's not the time for this, but I'm going to pivot so that I'm still being productive, and you keep on working on producing fruit, people will see those fruits.
Y'all, listen, well, this time is going by so fast. I'm telling you, I'm going to have her back on here again. What I did want to ask you, with all of the things, being an author, being called to speak, being a podcaster, being in the politics, I mean, not the politics, but the political arena, also leadership, volunteering, all those things. Like, I just got tired saying it. I think it was like 10 things. But anyway, being a mother and then having all those things that you still have to navigate, how did that show up for you and your children?
So when my children were young, and my children are adults now, but when they were young, I dragged them everywhere. They told me I'm gonna drag my grandbabies around like I dragged them around. I said, I'm not old. I'm still working. When you have children, don't expect me to just, be the caregiver, which is what they were, especially my son was expecting. He told me, drag them around like you dragged us.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it was good because when I volunteered, they volunteered. When I sat at a table, they sat at a table. And we're talking about my daughter was 4 and my son was 8. And they were knocking doors. They were dropping off magazines, running distribution. My son at 8. Because I had a magazine. And then my daughter being at the table, it just really helped. It really helped their growth.
Yes.
And so my son at 22, he bought his first investment property. He decided, he tried college. He did community college, decided it wasn't for him, but decided to go that investment route. My daughter is a student at FAMU, and she
Girl,
is.
living her dream life. You did that, sis. Let's not skip over that. Like, I love it for your son. Like that is just generational. That at 22, you learn the skills of buying property because our kids don't be knowing those skills. So
Absolutely.
that right there is T. But
then also, they taught us back in the day that when you turn 18, it's over.
Yep.
So that's not true. It's not true, and we have to stop doing that. And I realized that as a parent, because I'm like, okay, bye. and now they are 26. My daughter just turned 26. My son is about to turn 30. They never stop needing their mother.
Never.
It's a different level of relationship. It's a different kind of dialogue, but they never stop needing their mother. And we need to make sure that we are giving them opportunities, not rushing them out the door, giving them opportunities to mature, to grow, and to build themselves.
I love that because that's always my thing when I talk to people because they are always so concerned about the generational curses. Oh, you start that by having conversations and being relational with your children. Like, get out at 18, they just not starting a whole new phase of what do I do now? And I love that. Like, my kids know. I'll be like, y'all don't want, I'm gonna get a bigger house. Y'all don't want to live here. They be like, no, we cool on that. But my daughter has definitely turned into one of my dearest, I can't even say best, dearest friends. I love her to death. My son, he definitely is in a space where he needs a lot more construction. My granddaughter, my grandson, like, if y'all look on Facebook, y'all see them all the time. My little pebbles, I'm definitely that grandmother. Like, I love that for me. But absolutely. I am so excited about how you are doing things, how you are not only concerned, and I feel like that's the thing for a lot of us once we get to a level of ownership and financial situations that we concern ourselves just only on what's in this box. And you are out here saying, okay, my family is good, but I want everybody else to be good and be on a level that they can learn from. So that right there, that's the kudos of it all. I am so super proud of you.
Thank you.
Can you let people know, number one, about your book, which I feel, not book, but with the S, I feel like it is very instrumental, not only in the space of it's readable, but also in the space of mental health and more like mental wellness. It gives you tools to help you move through the spaces where you feel alone. There's something to help. It's definitely a tool. How they can get in touch with you, your podcast, how they can get in touch with you with the political arena, how they can help. What is it that, number one, before we go to that, what is the one thing that you want to leave people with? And then tell us how to get in touch with you.
I'm really big into, as leaders, a lot of us, especially minority leaders, we've gone through a lot of trauma. Um, and we don't always realize we can bring that into our leadership and our interactions, right?
Right.
And not only that, we're leading, but how are we feeling?
Yeah.
So I'm big on the mental health space, as we not only are leaders, but as we're building and shaping leaders, the leaders of tomorrow, we need to worry about them as well. Mental health is not something to be afraid of, or we kind of want to stick away from, get away from that. It's a stigma behind it, but it's
Mhm.
really something to embrace.
Yes.
Mental health for 100% of human beings. I
Yeah.
mean, 'cause as long as you have, your
Mm-hmm.
a brain and a mentality, that's something that you need to focus on, just like you need to focus on your physical being and your spiritual being. You need to focus on that part of your identity too. So I just want to encourage people to make sure you're focusing on it, and it's something that's continual. It's not a one-time thing, or a
Mm-hmm.
1 week or 1 year thing. It's something throughout our lives that we need to focus on, and not run from. And you'll be a better and happier person for it. So yes.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That is so true. And take a stick to beat it into people, even my clients, when they start to feel like people, oh, Miss McCalpine, somebody told me that I've been in therapy for a year. I'm like, so first of all, you haven't been in therapy for a year. You come once a week for 60 minutes. So let's make that very clear. And any time that you need maintenance, a lot of people, especially during the pandemic and things happen where we no longer have a safe space, we don't have family, we don't have community, that we definitely, and that's why this is so important to me, to bring people like you into a space, so that we have a community again where we can talk and get resources and feel like we aren't alone in this struggle. So, and I think I said, yeah, alone in the struggle. So I definitely love that piece that you just left us with. And again, like I said, y'all, you're going to see some repeating because there are people that are definitely here for us. And if we don't showcase that, then people don't have anywhere to go. It is my absolute pleasure and responsibility to have you come on and let people know that I'm here. Y'all don't have to struggle through this alone. So, Tiff, how can they get in touch with you? How can we buy your book? Give us some tea. Give us some zhush.
So you can email me at knowthyselfbookseries@gmail.com. Again, know thyself bookseries@gmail.com. You can purchase the book at phoenixrisingpublishing.com. And if you are ready to take your journey, come on. Not only do I have the book series, I will be releasing a whole system. So you can go back to the website and look out for that as well. But it really is about your journey. It really is about you getting the tools, me giving you the tools, because a lot of times people say, you just need the tools, but what are the tools?
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure step by step you understand what the tools are. I share a little bit about my journey in the book. More so, it's me giving you the tools and giving you the activities that you need to do, because you need to put actions behind what you learn so that there's deeper development, and not just changing, or in order to create real change
Mm-hmm.
you have to put actions in place, right? So the book helps you to do that. And then there's space to journal so you can take your own personal journey. And then if you take the journey, definitely leave me a review online, but also contact me, email me, inbox me. I'm on all of the social media platforms. So I would love to hear about your journey. And then you can check out our YouTube channel, Thrive and Rise with Tiffany. The podcast is once a month in Detroit at the Motor City Java House, the third Saturdays at 12:30. And you could be a part of the live audience, but you can also look at the replay. Shaaree has been one of our guests, amazing guests with an amazing story. And she shared a lot of nuggets on the podcast as well. So you can check that out at Thrive and Rise with Tiffany on YouTube.
Yeah. So you already know, like I said, she shall be back because there are other things that we want to get into, but the space is the space. We don't want to go over because we know the temperature, as you talked about before, or our attention span. I don't want anything to get lost because it's too long, and then you guys are like, so y'all already know how I do it. I walk you down gently. This is Shaaree McCalpine, and this must be the mental. If you have anything on your mind or you feel like you are not striving, you are surviving, you already know where to hit me up at. It's faithsourcecounseling.com, and I will link the email and information into this session so that you are able to contact Tiffany. Y'all already know what it do. Peace. Bye. Thanks, Tiff.
Thank you. You're amazing. Love you.